to see how you can expose H2 over TCP. And the reason you could do this is when you want to access the same H2 in-memory database from outside the web console over a specific port. The best use case for this is going to be using the IntelliJ Ultimate Edition. So here we've got the database connection available. So this is one way of connecting to the database if you're in the Ultimate Edition itself. And the other most commonly used technique is the web console. So if you have got Tomcat running, embedded Tomcat, then H2 configured on the class path will be exposed on the same port as your application. So what I've done is I've added the H2 dependency, and have a look here that the scope is not runtime, it is compiled, because the jar has to be present, and we have to make some additional settings here so that we can expose it over TCP. So I'll be going to the setting, but first you have to make note of this, that the scope has to be compiled. If the scope is runtime, then this will not work. So the next step that you need to do is go and create a configuration class and mark it as a bean, and you need to add this line here, which is the server module, which comes from H2 database. So you have to create the TCP server, and these are like command line arguments here. You can specify any port you want. So I've chosen 9090 here, and my application is going to run on 8080. So I don't have the overriding of port here, so it's going to run on 8080. These are the connection properties for H2. These are the standard ones. So these are going to be plugged in via auto configuration by Spring Boot itself. And what I've done is I've added a couple of files here. One is schema.sql, which will create a table on the fly once this application boots up, and data.sql is going to persist some values into this table called products. So once you spin up this application, Tomcat will be into action, and you will be able to see a H2 console because we've enabled it via this property here, which is you can see it's on line line 4. So let's run this application and see the web console first, and then we will see how to connect it via IntelliJ. So as you can see, Tomcat is running and H2 console is mapped here, and it's running on 8080. So if you open your browser and go to localhost 8080, okay, 8080. So this is obviously not the path. The path is /H2 console. So if you hit enter, you'll see this familiar page for H2. So you can connect here, and our products database is products table, sorry, is populated with the static values which we've added. So this is the most familiar way, you may know, but coming to the other method of connecting. So if you're using Ultimate Edition, then you can add this kind of configuration here, which is going to map on port 9090. So this is what we've provided in the configuration bean which we created. The port is going to be 9090, and the credentials are going to be the same, but the URL is actually going to use the scheme of TCP. So the JDBC URL changes and the port changes, rest credentials and host remains same. You can just do test connection here, and you have to provide the password. So password is nothing. Let's connect it. So it's succeeded. So you can hit apply and just click OK. And then if you go to public tables, you'll have the same products table, which you can now query via IntelliJ. So if you're someone who loves to query from the IDE itself, then this is a great option, a feature to have. And mostly people face some issues when they first connect to it. So it doesn't work if you try to connect on 8080 because you have to explicitly run it under TCP. So this is how you can connect to H2 console via a web UI as well as a through the IDE, IntelliJ IDE over TCP. The other use case is that if you've got two Spring Boot applications and independent applications, and if you want to connect to the same JVM H2 memory, right? It's going to be a shared H2 database, then this is the way you can do it. So this is a rare case where you can have two applications connecting to the same H2, but it can be done via this configuration. So this is what the important part is: creating this bean, exposing it over TCP, and then marking this as compile time scope instead of runtime, which you usually do in projects. So that's it for this video, and I hope you enjoyed. Thank you.